Mark your ass. I'm the hottest artist on the planet, Tiamat. Heinous here. Because I'm gonna let you know, if you're in the water, you're gonna die. Illuminati dies here today, Mom.
It's a shark in the zoo. They say in Babylon, put the mark on him too. His whole body light so we can maul other guys. If my all-seeing eye going dark on me too. And them coffers for you. I'm ready, so the devil who I call out first. I heard God call, he said behind the great wall. He I made a sword off to kick them all off earth. Hey, so my click don't play. Heaven gotta choose the wolf or the lamb. Get shot down by a pig in the street. Why do niggas gotta beef when it's a whole lot of hell? Alright. It's a hole in the dam. They can't flood Merc, so they shoot down gangs. Merc fly high, baby, Merc won't die. I don't see nobody here that can shoot down planes. It's like I shoot down veins. You're turning everybody in the hood to an addict. You look 6th grade to a bully with a habit. Cause I'm a switchblade or a fully automatic. Let's go. It's only 2 ways out. Don't ever try to sit or think of running cause you can't. It's only screaming die while you running out of tank. Or screaming try bitch while you running out the bank. My click don't pay. I'm probably in your range getting brain with the semi. My hoe act right like she came with an Emmy. She want black pipe cause she came with the Remy. Ain't no pain even in me. You probably wouldn't know where I blow back kush. It's 5 knockouts when it's 5 cops out. Or it's 5 shots out from the big bad wolf. Better bitch gon' say that my click don't play. I threw a clip in the cave and I'm probably in your range getting brain with the semi. Better bitch gon' say that my click don't play. I threw a clip in the cave and I'm probably in the range getting brain with the semi. Better bitch gon' say this is the only way I know to handle this. A whole lot of guns and a whole lot of cannabis.
Shots fired at Screw 2, but shots out to you carbon babies. This is your melanated warrior, Heru Heinous, and this is another installment of Facts Over Feelings. Leave your feelings at the door so we can get to the facts, because the facts are the only things that matter in a race where the first one to the mind is the winner. So let's get into it, Crystallogians. Let me tell y'all something. Shoot, I was reading one of the alerts that YouTube sent me, and they were telling me, they was like, listen, nigga. Well, they didn't say that because I probably would have tried to sue YouTube. But they was like, look, if you got under 1,000 subs, you're not going to be able to do your lives for 2 hours, see everybody in the chat and all of this. And see, so, you know, when they updated these terms, I'm pretty sure a lot of your YouTubers who got big channels, obviously, it didn't matter to them because they got well over 1,000 subs, right? But for people like us who they want to make sure we kept in the underground, it definitely affects, like, I can't see all the people in the chat, any problems, issues that we're having, stuff like that. You don't get a lot of those luxuries until you get supposedly over 1,000 subs. So you know how that stuff goes, right? So you know how they be doing with that. But let's check the chat right quick, see who all up in here. Oh, because we got some fire. We got some fire today. Say Kevin De Los Santos says, wealth, peace, and power, fam. That's what's up. Jay Chosen says, Crystallogians. Gremlin Cinnamon Line says, Medusa says, greetings. Jan, I believe that says Jan Kerr. I believe that is. Says, hey, Crystallogians, Mr. Teddy. Boy, no such thing as a Blanco scientist. Which, come on now, you already know that. It's unless they advocates for nature. All right. Dion says Mississippi. All right. So yeah, we gonna get into it because, like, man, this is extremely important. And also, I mean, if you guys took a look, if you guys, we had I felt like that was a very, very powerful live, that last one, NASA and the Devil's Playground. That was just a phenomenal broadcast. I mean, if this is kind of gonna be some of the stuff that a lot of people sleep on. And then they revisit it and be like, oh my God, man, it was going down back in that time. Sort of like how we look at what Bobby Hemmington was doing and stuff, shades of that. But also, if you notice, they put a disclaimer, well, they put a I guess their version of a disclaimer on there, or a warning label, or whatever you want to call it, with Wikipedia sitting up there suggesting that, oh, well, this guy's using terms like disc and plane and words like stationary, anything to denote a flat earth. And then they realized that your boy Hey Roo was reading their articles, and they quickly took that motherfucker down. Them blancos is like, oh, that's our science. We were saying plane. It's all, take it down, take it down. Yeah, bitch, got your ass. Got your ass. You know what I'm saying? And then, so of course, as we looking at the title, I mean, you guys see the imagery. One of the things is, we do, whenever we do stuff like this, we discuss political issues and entertainment. Always has to do, we're trying to do with the esoteric side behind all of those things. And then we don't want to, when we put this information out there, obviously it's not to encourage fear mongering. It's not to incite panic, because we believe that when you're sound of mind, you're fundamentally sound. That is, obviously you can cultivate a sound strategy, which in turn comes from, like we said, abstaining from a myopic view, which in turn will help in aiding Mother Earth in her liberation, which will also aid us in our liberation as the heirs of her creation. All right. Very, very powerful segment with this World War III stuff, right? And I gotta issue like a little bit of a disclaimer to myself before we get into it, because man, y'all know that y'all know that's why I really don't drop. I came back off vacation. Oh, I enjoyed that eclipse. I went to hey y'all, straight up, listen. Hold on. Let me say I found the Christologies. Oh, okay. I'm just reading this chat. Yeah, but I had I make sure my crystal was charged. I looked at, man, I was sitting up there because I went to Toledo, Ohio to go see the eclipse. And I went to this park, first park I could find, and it was packed. And it was black folks out there and everything like that. But it started at like 12, and I'm just sitting up there with my bare eyes. I think I stared in the sky for like 2-3 hours straight. You know what I'm saying? So vision slightly blurry, but hey, it was worth it. You know what I'm saying? I had to see the whole thing. Everybody's looking at this dude like, this dude where? He's about to go. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I want to see what all the yip yap is about. And of course, I felt charged. Felt like, definitely feel like we keep that to ourselves. However you experience it, definitely is for you. And I definitely felt amazing during and after. That eclipse. It definitely was a phenomenal experience for me. I mean, had to be one of the greatest things I've ever experienced in my life since my son being born, or my life period, being able to experience Mother Nature for myself. Phenomenal experience. I mean, movies do not do it justice, brothers and sisters. So if you ever get an opportunity to experience a solar eclipse in its totality, in the path of totality, please do so. I mean, it's worth it. It's worth it. So with that being said, all right, let's get into it, because we definitely have a very, very powerful live for you guys, man. We got a very powerful live for you guys. And so so as you've seen from the the illustration, headlining this live event, what do you guys, because I'm looking at chat, especially since this won't be as long as all the other lives and stuff too as well. I mean, the rest of the show can be dedicated to a Q&A, but we're going to get to the meat of this. We got some good stuff, but I want to let, like I said, I want to make an attempt to also make this as interactive as possible. So with that being said, in the chat, what do you guys feel like, is the reason why the United States would want World War III to happen? Or do you think World War III to happen? What World War III is going to happen? What do you think that, what are your thoughts and ideas, comments, concerns about this whole little thing before we get off into it? I want to know what you guys think, right? What's up, Kai? Says, salute, Hey Roo. A-Love says, hey Roo. Jean Gray said, I'm in Ohio. That's what's like. So you got to see the thing. You got to see it all. Be more in the building. What's up, niggas? That's what I'm talking about. All right. Jamal says, inevitable in due time. Rich Janice said, I was looking in the sky. I look like a sun blur. So that's all I do. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They was out there with the clouds, wasn't they? Them Blancos is like, no, nobody gets to see it. Nobody gets to see it. TSCG Music says, I don't think I ever caught you live. Let's go. Oh, yeah. You in for a treat, bro. We in here. All right, I'm Dion said they trillions in debt and back in school. I heard that to make more money. Okay, look it up, Dion. Oh, man, see the crystal. I already know I'm not going to get nothing past y'all. I just want to hear y'all thoughts because we vibe, and I know y'all already on it. The real Israelites, us waking up, they got a stage prop. Of course, you already know that, Kyle. You already know we the chosen. You know what I'm saying? Mother Earth is not having it. All right, London and UK and all. That's what's up. Devin the dude, we got the UK in the crib. That's what's up. Medusa said in the way, they've always, I always take these emojis down. Let me look at this damn, hold on. So I gotta use screw tube. All right. Okay, so basically, Jamal Mills says through chaos they bring order. Of course. Yes, they do. All right. Okay. All right. So this is what we about to do. You guys. We're about to look at an article. I was thinking if I wanted to do this article first, before I did this video. I was debating on this before because I think one has a stronger point than the other. All right, so what we're about to do is first we're going to take a look at a couple articles, right? Because what I want to show you guys exactly, this is what a lot of people are alluding to. Many of you already are knowledgeable about this and stuff like this, but we're just going to recap because you have to understand this. So I'm going to speak to you guys. We have to understand, because this eludes a lot of the analysts and the conscious community, political analysts and all that stuff, because they have an agenda. And we already know how deep this agenda goes on the esoteric level, but on the surface level is just as important too, because then, one of the things that it helps us to do is avoid these surface level arguments when we see it. And also, like you said, we can blend, because it's important for us to understand, like we said, to be fundamentally sound, and then also to know what's going on the esoteric level, because we understand that the world communicates in signs and symbols. But with this article in particular, we have to understand exactly how this system was set up. And since, like I said before, you guys got to forgive me. I prefaced this with you guys knowing that I didn't, provide get all my research tools available to me. So some of this stuff is going to be from memory. And I believe that, I'm real good with dates. So, don't hold me to them, but trust me, I know that I'm 99.9% sure of some of these dates that I still got in my head. So when I go back and I recap, in my mind, I'm going back to the election of 1824. The election of 1824, I believe, was between John Adams and Andrew Jackson. I don't know if you guys can Google that, but I think that was the case. It was between John Adams and Andrew Jackson. And the thing is, remember I told you, this was so prolific and so profound. And this is what always seems to elude Blancos when they talk about this, because they live in this bubble, as we all do, and they force us to live in this, right? But the reality of it is Andrew Jackson won the popular vote and the Electoral College, and he still lost the presidency. Did you hear me, brothers and sisters? Remember, I told you this. He won the Electoral College and the popular vote and still lost the election. And why? Because he was against the big banks. Now we know that Andrew Jackson was a warmonger. He was the one who encouraged the Indian Removal Act or initiated that and executed it. But at the same time, according to, if they were to be in favor of any president, Andrew Jackson was the only president in United States history to ever balance the budget. This United States history, so to speak, obviously, because we know the real truth behind that. But as the narrative goes, now as we explore this, one of the things that I'm about to do is we're about to look at an article right quick to show you the real reason as to why it's so important for us to understand how all of this had went down, how it all set up, and what the agenda was, and how, like Bobby Hemmett articulated, and so many of our educators had told us, we are already living in the midst of the order. It's not, it's about to come. No, it been here. This was like a slow death. Okay. And you had so many people trying to ignore, they wanted to ignore the obvious because many of these people were doing good. But now that you see a lot of these people who are on, wobbly ground, so to speak, right, or unstable ground, you see them shifting, and all of a sudden they want to, it's all about us. No, bitch. We told you that this was nefarious, wicked, and insidious government to begin with. You didn't want to believe us. All right. So with that being said, all right, let's go ahead and let's pull up an article right quick, right? Let's pull up an article. Let's pull up this article right quick. And this is very important, brothers and sisters, very, very important. So I'm finna share my screen. And I want to make sure that you guys can hear me once I share my screen. One's in the chat if you guys can still hear me. Obviously, there's going to be a delay, so I'm going to just sit in just for 1 second and make sure that you guys can still hear me. All right. That's what's up. Chat operating faster. Okay, so we got Bretton Woods and the birth of the World Bank. Now, this is going to seem like some drops, but this is very important stuff, brothers and sisters, so let's read. On July 1st, 1944, as the battles of the Second World War raged in Europe and the Pacific, delegates from 44 nations met at the secluded Mount Washington Hotel in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, to participate in what became known as the Bretton Woods Conference. Their purpose was to agree on a system of economic order and international cooperation that would help countries recover from the devastation of the war and foster long-term global growth. Now, look, this is their mission statement: to foster long-term global growth. As we are now, obviously, almost 80 years into the future, we see that they failed miserably. So let's continue on. At its conclusion, the conference attendees produced the Articles of Agreement for the International Bank for Reconstruction. Where have we heard that term before? Reconstruction and Development, and the International Monetary Fund. Years of planning. What did I say? What did it say? Years of planning and discussion preceded. Preceded means before. This is before the Bretton Woods Conference, okay? 1944 is the end of the world. Now, mind you, like they said, they were sitting up here conspiring with each other to make this happen before the war ever started. So right now, before quote-unquote World War III is even starting, this World War currency is already been into effect, okay, brothers and sisters? How do we know this? Let's continue to keep reading. And laid the foundation for the conference success. While the final articles were ultimately influenced to a significant degree by the initial plans of the United States and the contributions from the United Kingdom, other countries attended consultations and presented proposals containing their own vision for an international bank prior to the conference. So all of these countries came forward. Even those who didn't want or agree with the United States plan. What you have to understand and focus your attention on is that they all are in on this. They all wanted this to happen. Most of them may not agree on what plan or what road to take, but they all desired the same destination. That is what you need to know. The conference, formerly known as the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference, convened on July 1st, 1944, and was attended by 730 delegates. U.S. Treasury Secretary Henry Morgenthau Jr. served as conference president. Lord John Maynard Keynes of the UK delegation led Commission 2 that dealt with the proposal for a bank for reconstruction and development. The commission's committees were tasked with studying the preliminary draft presented to the conference and gathering additional suggestions and proposals. Mexico, Chile, Brazil, Russia, Belgium, the Netherlands, Czechoslovakia, Poland, Canada, China, and India were among the active participants. So when the first World Bank start, notice that some of these key players, China, India, Brazil, these is BRICS. BRICS is right in here in this first World Bank. They right in here. Oh my goodness, we're about to blow the doors off this shit. I don't want to hear no more talk about no BRICS and none of this shit, because we're about to show you that the whole world is a stage. Oh my goodness. We about to show you the whole. See, we don't do surface level shit even here when we do surface level shit. All right. Okay. And India were among the active participants. Much of the discussion centered around the proposed bank's dual purposes of reconstruction and development in its capital structure. All right. And on July 22nd, 1944, the final act of the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference, which included charters outlining the goals and mechanisms of both the IMF and IBRD, were signed by the delegates. Although many decisions had yet to be made, the IBRD Articles of Agreement were ratified on December 27th, 1945, when representatives from 21 countries convened in Washington, D.C. to become the bank's first members. So even before they even really keeping documents, which you're going to read later on in this article, before they even recorded this, from going down, they such in a rush to get all of this done. They meeting in Washington, D.C. to become members of this bank. Okay? Look, and so as we continue, look what the article says. Imagine all of the paperwork, drafts, reports, notes, correspondence, and other records generated during the conference. Think of all of this important documentary evidence. Where do all these archival sources live? Like the IMF, the World Bank did not technically exist during or even immediately after the conference, and so did not have record-keeping responsibilities. Country delegates may have taken the records back to their countries after the conference was over, and so it's likely that archival records relating to Bretton Woods can be found in the custody of archival institutions in those 44 countries. As host of the conference, the records held by the United States are particularly comprehensive. IMF Archives later became the repository for the records maintained by the conference secretariat. Records related to Bretton Woods in the holdings of the World Bank Group archives were collected as a result of bank units and staff collecting copies for the purpose of reference, and while not insignificant, are far from complete, blah, blah, blah. So basically it's telling you that the United States kept track of this shit. They kept track, right? All these other countries, they split because they already understand what the agenda is, right? All right. So I don't think that we need, what was it? Another point that I had to make in this article. Okay. Yeah, this is right at the end of it too. This is very profound. We also invite you to explore the other knowledge products produced by the archives that relate to the Bretton Woods Conference. In 2019, you might think that this is insignificant, but this is how powerful this is. This is why you have to have high analytical skills. And remind you, we say this all the time on this platform. If you cannot understand what you have read, nigga, you cannot read. Okay? So listen, it says in 2019, the World Bank Group celebrated the 75th anniversary of the conference. Pause. Remember? Listen, let me talk back to you. Remember when I told you guys that, with sound fun, with sound thinking and analytical skills, you can get through all of the bull crap. And we talked about how if the Blanco, they talk about the United States dollar collapsing, like, okay, what is the Blanco going to do with all his planes, his military ships and boats and guns and ammunition? He's not going to get rid of it. He's not going to give it up to his enemies, right? So inevitably World War III is going to happen regardless. That's the military arm of the industrial complex that Dwight D. Eisenhower talked about, right? So we know that they're not going anywhere. Now, hold on one second. Hold on one second. Let me make sure. All right. So we know that they're not going anywhere. This is similar to this. Now we look and we see that 2019, it said that, what did it say? 2019, right? That they celebrated. When was BRICS formed? I'm glad you asked. I'll show you when BRICS was formed. Hold on one second. June 16th, 2009. 2009. So you should ask yourself. How are the same countries that are a part of the World Bank that agreed to have one currency are now also a part of an agenda supposedly to undermine the currency of the United States, the United States and the UK? It makes no sense whatsoever. And we're going to show you why they desire all of these things, right? Because they, like we said, they've been on it, been a part of this, conspiracy for a very long time, right? And it's always been a part of the end game. This is particularly one of the reasons, like we said, in politics, when we see a lot of our people shucking and jiving, when you see entertainers, politicians, judges, lawyers, teachers from all walks of life, all areas of life activity, shucking and jiving, you can't figure it out. It's because this is what they all know. They all know it's going down. They all know this is going down. Matter of fact, let me see where this article is at right quick. Let me just read a couple. This is very important right here, just to kind of touch it up, clean it up right quick, and we're gonna wrap it all up. Hold on. The Bretton Woods Conference. Meeting at Bretton Woods, we told you guys, during World War II to make financial arrangements for the post-war world after the expected defeat of Germany and Japan. Okay. All right. The conference was attended by experts non-committally representing 44 states or governments, including the Soviet Union. It drew up a project for the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development to make long-term capital available for states urgently needing much foreign aid, and a project for the International Monetary Fund to finance short-term imbalances in international payments in order to stabilize exchange rates. Now, that's a whole bunch of mayonnaise, but we're finna go down to the meat of this shit, right? All right, we're going to go to the International Monetary Fund, right? UN specialized agency founded at the Bretton Woods Conference in 1944 to secure international monetary cooperation to stabilize current. Okay, so they go over the same shit. Well, okay, now this is what you have to understand. This is the big key to this right here. The IMF is headed by a board of governors, each of whom represents one of the organization's approximately 180 member states. The governors, who are usually their country's finance ministers or central bank directors, attend annual meetings on IMF issues. Okay, so they meet at least 3 times. Okay, it says when they do, they meet at least 3 times a week. 8 directors represent individual countries: China, France, Germany, Japan, Russia, Saudi Arabia, the United Kingdom, and the United States. And the 16 represent the fund's remaining members, grouped by the world regions. So they split the rest of everybody up into regions and shit. This is important for you guys to understand. We're about to build this framework, okay? Because it makes most decisions by consensus, the executive board rarely conducts formal voting. The board is chaired by managing director, who is appointed by the board for a renewable 5-year term and supervises the fund staff of about 2,700 employees from more than 140 countries. Okay, 140 countries. The managing director is usually a European and, by tradition, not an American. The first female managing director, Christine Lagarde of France, was appointed in June of 2011. All right. Now, this is what's cold. This is what you got to understand. We got to commit this to memory because this is extremely important, brothers and sisters. This is how we're going to be able to see through all of the bullshit. This is what keeps us fundamentally sound. All right. Now, it says each member. Now, this is each country. That's a part of the UN. Each country that becomes a member of the International Monetary, that becomes a part of the World Bank, you have to understand that this is what they all do. Each member contributes a sum of money called a quota subscription. Quotas are reviewed every 5 years and are based on each country's wealth and economic performance. The richer the country, the larger its quota. The quotas form a pool of loanable funds and determine how much money each member can borrow and how much voting power it will have. For example, the United States' approximately $83 billion contribution is the most of any IMF member, accounting for approximately 17% of total quotas. Accordingly, the United States receives about 17% of the total votes on both the Board of Governors and the Executive Board. The group of 8 industrialized nations, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Russia, the United Kingdom, the United States, controls nearly 50% of the fund's total votes. Okay, so this is showing you that there is no economic decision on this planet that can occur without the United States being in agreement with it. They pool their money together and then they force these countries, more or less, we know, through military strength and coercion, right, to spend this money that's in the pool that they all chip into, which puts the world in debt. It is not the United States in debt. You are about to understand the world is in debt. So all of this BRICS bullshit is just theater. And any nigga sitting up there talking about what BRICS is about to do and how to plan for this and that is somebody who has been 100 motherfucking miles behind on what's really going on. But not here at the FOF Squad, because you are messing with the most dangerous mind on ScrewTube. All right? Hold on, let me see what else that I feel like I may need to bring up out of this article and shit, because we about to start kicking ass, and we got an explosive, something that's, related to what's going on too as well, because I wanted to put a couple things together, obviously, but I want to, all right, so I think that's pretty much all I had to read out of this. No. The SDRs. The SDRs is what I wanted to get to. All right. We're just going to read just a lot of financial jargon, but we obviously going to make it make sense. Okay. Members with a balance of payment deficits. Balance of payment. So, if somebody obviously is in debt, these members, which obviously what they call these third world countries, pretty much anywhere brown people are at, right? With a lot of mineral resources, right? Mineral rich, but just happen to be broke. All right. Borrow money in foreign currencies, which they must repay with interest. So the rest of the world has to borrow from these 4 countries in their currency. Okay, this is how the International Monetary Fund is set up. So you hear all the time about the IMF, but once again, these people who claim to be our educators do not teach us about these institutions. We know nothing about them. All you hear is them throwing these letters around. Oh, FBI, CIA, IMF, UN, and we know nothing about these. So we're about to learn about these things right quick, right? Each member may immediately borrow up to 25% of its quota in this way. The amounts available for purchase are denominated in special drawing rights called SDRs, whose value is calculated daily as a weighted average of 4 currencies: the US dollar, the euro, the Japanese yen, and the British pound sterling. Okay, now, you know, like we said, that native country, its currency is then weighed against these 4 currencies to determine its value. So like we said, you're never going to get out of this trap as long as you are part of the UN and as long as you submit to the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. It is impossible. Any politician that in Africa they talking about running and he talking tough, that's a fucking puppet. That's an actor that should be playing in Shakespeare plays right now, because you niggas is eating this bullshit up. Boy, I'm sorry, I'm on fire. I came with the heat. You already know, man. I came off the eclipse smoking. All right, the SDRs are an international reserve asset created by the IMF in 1969 to supplement members' existing reserve assets of foreign currencies and gold. Countries use the SDRs that have been allocated to them by the IMF to settle international debts. More than 20 billion SDRs were allocated to members in successive allocations from 1969 through 1981. SDRs are not part of the quota subscription supplied by members, and thus they are not part of the general asset pool available for loan to members. The IMF uses the SDR as its unit of account for all transactions. Okay, so that's enough of that. We just wanted to get you to understand that this is the whole world as a stage. All right, they're all working together for this agenda that obviously will, in our opinion, will reach culmination simply because so many people are ignorant of the process in and of itself. They're ignorant of these institutions and the power and the broad-reaching power that they have, right? And they're ignorant, obviously, of how strong the commitment is by a lot of these nations to the end game, which is leading you to believe that every puppet that they put in front of you is about liberation for your nation. Get out of nationhood. Get out of this idea of being a patriot in whatever country you're from, because we about to show you exactly about what's going on. We showed you on esoteric level, but like we said, sometimes when we show it at the fundamental level, many times it wakes people to fuck up. So this is what we're about to do. Let me talk to you before we get this video cracking. All right. So what we about to do is we about to obviously show you a video. We want to preface it by 1976 Copyright Act, Section 107, allowances made for fair use for the purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, scholarship. But overall here at the FOF Squad, waking your ass up, and we about to show you exactly what the fuck is going down. You see what I'm saying? So let me share my screen. Hold on one second. Oh, yeah, y'all about to love that in a minute. Y'all about to... Oh, man, y'all about to love that shit. Hold up. Let's go. Let's go right here.
The working day begins for one of the men who in Spain are as legendary.
All right, hold on. Let me make sure. Okay, let me make sure that audio is good for this video. Let me go with this damn. All right, let me make sure this audio. Ones if you guys can hear the audio, right? All right, ones. Okay, all right, let's go.
As they are infamous.
El cobrador del frac en este país es tan conocido como la Coca-Cola. En cuanto te llamas por teléfono a alguien y le dices que eres el cobrador del frac, este individuo ya se pone en tensión.
Debt collectors in tails have been around for 30 years. The company's heyday was during the 2008 financial crisis, when thousands of Spaniards went bankrupt.
Si este señor sigue sin querer reunirse con nosotros, viene la parte que te interesa. Y es que aparece un compañero así disfrazado, con un maletín que lo verás ahora del cobrador del frac, y se posiciona en la puerta de su negocio o en la puerta de su domicilio, de tal suerte que todo el mundo entiende que debes dinero.
Hay una tipología infinita de morosos. está desde el moroso más noble que se ha arruinado y que no tiene dinero y no puede pagar.
So basically, he's just talking about how when people, owe money, they don't want to pay and stuff, and he feel bad for them, sorry for them, all that different shit. But we finna, fast forward through all this different shit because they just use it as an example of the world. You know what I'm saying? Because Spain economy was ripped to shreds like many other people. But let's go on, right? Let's get to the meat of this.
Professor Terence Tao is the equivalent of a rock star in mathematics.
Hate that shit, man. Get these motherfucking Blanco scientists out of here. Ain't no rock stars and no science that made up shit. Hold on. All right.
That's a colossal.
So let's get
today. The whole world is in the same position as the Spaniard who can't pay. Private individuals, companies, and whole countries have been struggling with steadily rising debts for over 15 years. The problem has been severely aggravated by the corona pandemic and the war in Ukraine. Does this mean the world is about to collapse under a huge mountain of debt? The world's total debt currently exceeds $300 trillion.
They said the world's debt exceeds $300 trillion. First thing a nigga should be thinking about, who in the fuck do we owe? Who does the world owe? Man, can you imagine how godlike these Blancos think the fuck they are? Who in the fuck do we owe? Oh my goodness, it's about to get, let this Blanco keep talking this mayonnaise shit. It's pissing me the fuck off.
That's a colossal number with 14 zeros. To pay off this debt, everyone in the world would have to work for 3.5 years.
Everyone in the world would have to work for 3.5 years without pay. Everyone is a slave. Because we already know the leaders of these Blancos is not human. Okay, we already know who we already know who they say we owe. We done went through the esoteric side of the game, all right? So we're not going to go off into that part. We just going to keep this. We going to do a little bit of, we going to shift from, back and forth, right? Keep our feet in both waters, right? Esoteric and exoteric. We love doing this shit. Who the fuck do we owe? Because, see, you got to understand that that's probably got to be the worst fucking display, obviously, of economic foresight in the world when you got a Blanco who sit up there and talk about how he enslaved millions of Africans for 400 years and ended up in debt. How do you enslave the world? Remind you, this is not the United States. This Blanco claim he went around. Hold on, let me talk to you niggas in your face. I'm not scared of nobody here. Hold up. Look what I'm talking about right now. This Blanco said he went around the world. He went to America. He went to Central America, South America. He went to Africa. He said that he made slaves of everybody. Yet everybody owes who? If you enslave the entire world, how do we owe you? If you had millions of people working for free for 400 fucking years, how do we owe you? Who the fuck is in debt? What type of fucking idiot do you have to be following? Where he ruled somebody for 400 years, forced them to work for him. That's just like a pimp. A pimp, take Magic Don Juan. He got 50 bitches. Every bitch brings in $1,000. Then at the end of the month, you ask Don Juan, you got any money? He like, nah, man, I'm $2 million in debt. How, nigga? You don't do shit. You got... Man, come on, man. Come on. We just trying to get you to understand the logic of all of this, right? How are you following somebody? Why would you even want anything from anybody who obviously can't, who obviously can't keep $1 in their own damn pocket, allegedly, right? Government can't keep money. We had always given away money. And now you know where they're getting the aid from. The whole world is pulling this in. The whole world is pulling this in. This is just not the United States doing this. Remember, the World Bank is running this shit. Do you stop forgetting what these crackers is telling you? This was established in 1944 with 44 countries. And you know they let us spell work. That's why your boy Heru, y'all know I'll be 44 this year. Oh, my magic number is here, baby. I'm 44 this year. So you already know how that shit's going. I digress. My point being is that these individuals understood that all you have to do is make things about nationalism, compartmentalize the information, you would get everybody lost. We've been operating under a new world order from the beginning. All right. It's just been getting more and more sophisticated. Okay, that's the only thing that we need to know, right? And the theater is on and popping because we got these countries participating. We got puppet leaders in Africa popping up talking about how they champion BRICS and how they can't wait to the U.S. All that's bullshit. Trash. Straight fucking trash. All right? All right. Avery says the Economic Hitman book talks about this stuff too. It's a freaking game and a way to steal resources. Oh, yeah. All day. Hold on 1 second. Angel Love 777 says, finally caught you, fam. That's what's up. That's what's up. You guys, also, if you guys, if you use any cuss words, anything like that in your comments, YouTube will hold them. So that's not me. That's just, it's how it's set up. All right. So, let's go on. Let's go on, right? Let's continue on in this video because I just wanted to, that was upsetting me right quick. I had to, I had to speak to y'all right quick because I got to get people to understand is that it's a global economy. This is a campaign, and the only individuals that can free Mother Earth. Remember, and if you've been rocking with Hey Rule for any length of time, especially if you've been rocking with me for my first channel, you guys have understood that I always talk about the liberation of Mother Earth. This is, like they said, none of these other groups are going to do it. They are lost in European science. They champion European science. They champion the artificial matrix. Only the chosen, only God's chosen people are going to be able to get us out of this situation. And the first thing that you got to do in order to free yourself and to free yourself up for this type of happenstance is that you're going to have to rid yourself of European science. There's going to be is no other way to cut, slice, and dice that. So what I want to do is that we want to go back to this video, finish it up right quick, and then we're going to go off into some other things.
To find out what's going on in the world, we decide to explore the stories behind global debt. We want to find out what's happening away from the headlines. We visit people in debt and learn about the dramatic impact it has on their lives. And we go to countries with vast levels of national debt. We want to find out how the lives of ordinary people are affected. Is the situation hopeless? Or are there any ways out of the debt trap? After the financial crisis of 2008, many states fell into debt. Back then, after a phase of unbridled lending in the USA, a property bubble burst. Major banks went bust, and the stock market collapsed. The US government had to take on staggering debts to save the economy. The debt crisis in the USA triggered a global chain reaction that still resonates. To trace the long-term impact of the 2008 crisis, we travel to a country where money seems to be no object. The Emirates of Dubai.
Oh, y'all gonna love this shit. This shit right here. Hold on. Watch this shit.
There, we meet Sajjad Maroof, an estate agent who wants to show us something exquisite. A map of the world consisting of artificial islands.
A map of the world consisting of artificial islands. Check this little small. Watch this shit.
In 2003, a state-owned corporation began constructing the world islands and selling them to investors. They wanted to build retreats for the super rich, palaces like this one.
Welcome to Sweden Beach Palace. Welcome to the homes of White King. Only the kings are allowed to stay over here.
The palace provides an astonishing refuge from the outdoor temperatures topping 45 degrees Celsius.
Scandinavian people, they have a tradition to take sauna to open up the body pores.
Now look at this Arab dude. Supposedly, I don't know what the fuck he is. Obviously, he talking about Scandinavian culture and shit. Now watch how tripped out this shit.
Okay, so we have sauna over here. We can make it as a dry or a steam room. Then immediately, when sauna is done, they have to take an ice bath. So we have our own snow room.
You know how much these Blancos love snow. Telling you.
That's how you enjoy the snow. So the idea was this, how to bring the whole world in Dubai. So that's Spain. You can see Portuguese over there. And that's France.
We try to follow Mr. Marouf's logic, but we find it difficult to make out the outlines of European countries.
They like, nigga, that shit just look like saying to us, fuck is you talking about? Hold on, it gets worse, hold on.
The sharp contours have eroded away. Since 2008, the project called The World has lain dormant. Nevertheless, one man still wants to keep building on the artificial islands and create a mini Europe. Josef Kleindienst, an Austrian businessman.
Now notice this on a side note, you know I like to do sidebars. Notice this about these Blanco, who's ruling with these Blancos. Artificial food, artificial islands, artificial technology, artificial this. We keep telling you this is the nature. Understanding nature simultaneously is doing this. That's just a side note, but we're gonna let this continue on because it's some very key points that's gonna come out of this video. As we let the remainder of it play.
Has wound up here in the Persian Gulf. Part of his grand vision can already be admired.
Welcome to see our Heart of Europe project. I want to point out.
Hold on, he's just talking a whole bunch of mayonnaise. I want to get to the belt right here. Hold on.
Europe, 7 parties.
Because basically what he's talking about is how a lot of the investors had left, like 40-50% of them had left out at 2008 because the financial crisis wasn't just in the United States. The real estate crisis was all over the world. That is what you need to know. The 2008 financial crisis was all over the world. These presidents, remember when Barack Obama sat on the UN? These presidents, like we said, these are the United Nations. They're not ruling you. They're representing your country inside of the United Nations. That is what you need to know. They are representing your country inside of the United Nations. But the United Nations is the final authority and has been since 1944. Come on, let's kick ass right quick.
This is typical of Dubai, the epitome of abundance. A Switzerland beneath palm trees welcoming anyone who wants to take the wealth to the emirate. Postmodern towers soar up into the sky. They include the tallest building in the world.
If you're shopping for a home, Realtor.com only...
Trash. Fuck out of here. Then they gonna talk about real estate. They have an ad on real estate. Fuck out of here.
Skyscraper was originally going to be called Burj Dubai, but the prestigious building had to be renamed after the ruler of Abu Dhabi, Sheikh Khalifa. The powerful neighbor helped Dubai out with an emergency loan in 2008.
The powerful neighbor helped Dubai out with that. This nigga bought the building. He's like, man, let me get that big ass building, y'all tallest building and shit. I'm gonna help y'all out with y'all raggedy ass. But see, everybody on TikTok, you know, you got these models flying out to TikTok, literally having sex with animals out here with these motherfucking nasty ass degenerates. And oh, we about to get off into this shit. Oh, this is about to get deep. This about, you know what I'm saying? We about to tackle a lot of different shit, right? But, you know, let's speak on what we speaking on right now. All of this is a ruse. All of this is a ruse, right? And he's finna talk about it. As you can see right here, all of these undone buildings, because I'm pretty sure you probably see it in a lot of your cities here. This Blanco is getting a lot of loans to build shit, but that's exactly it. He has to keep up the allure. He has to keep up the idea that this shit is still booming. It's all falling apart. It's all falling apart. Let's go.
The emirate, with relatively little oil, was on the verge of bankruptcy.
Relatively little oil, but you hear about the United Arab Emirates. Oh shit, you think they got money and oil? Nothing could be further from the truth. They're broke. They're fucking broke.
Half-finished buildings bear witness to the credit-leveraged madness a few years ago.
They built it all, like the Blancos building it all on credit. Credit leverage madness is what they called it.
Instead of lavish real estate, it would have been better to invest in more sensible things, says sovereign debt expert Christoph Trebisch.
Of course it would have been more. Man, let's go past him.
Some who'd invested in the painstakingly created world map. One even.
Let's go to
Even though the world keeps stalling, life is creeping into it. Recently, another investor began building on the island that represents Argentina. Despite its past as a debtor, Dubai's image hasn't been tarnished. The emirate was lucky to get help so quickly. At the southernmost end of the world lies the undisputed bankruptcy champion of our planet. Argentina has been bankrupt 9 times.
Argentina has been bankrupt 9 times. Bankrupt 9 times. Okay, let's go.
Sometimes international financiers stepped in. Sometimes no aid was received. We can see here what happens when a state has too much debt to meet its obligations to the poorest people. The slum called Via 31 spreads beneath the motorway bridges in central Buenos Aires. Thousands of Argentines rely on charities. A century ago, Argentina was one of the 5 richest countries in the world.
A century ago, Argentina was one of the 5 richest countries in the world. Let's go.
It has mineral resources and a well-educated population.
Oh, we know, don't matter. Still got all the minerals, still got a smart people. That I'm keep telling you, brothers and sisters. And like we keep telling them dumbass niggas out there, you think you can impress these Blancos with your education? You think your children mean something to them? You think your mind means? They don't give a fuck about that. You'll be standing in this line right here. That's what the fuck you gonna be doing. You'll be standing in this line right here. So you think that you mean more to them than these people? The only thing keeping up the United States is black folk. It has been our ingenuity, our creativity that has only kept United States from its disaster. That's the only thing that has kept this motherfucker from this shit full-time 24/7.
How could such a country fall so low? Alejandro Berkovich is an economist and radio journalist. He's been studying why Argentina can't escape the debt trap.
Argentina es un país rico pero muy desigual. y las elites, las clases poseedoras de Argentina.
So he's saying the country's elites get the property. Then when there's any surplus, the elites get it. That sounds like the same shit we be talking about over here in America. I don't see any difference. Oh, because he's speaking Spanish? Because he's speaking Spanish? All these niggas compartmentalizing your struggle into these parties. Democrat, Republican. They got the world tied in knots. And we always knew it. But we didn't know how intimately connected this system was to every other area on the planet. Okay? So this is one of the reasons why we have to, you know, wise up. And we're saying that, no, this is not fear-mongering. This is not exciting any paranoia. This is letting you know that if you do not, man, a brother of mine sent me a hashtag. He said hashtag was like train or die. I said, oh, I got to put that on my mirror. Every day I want to look at that hashtag. Hashtag train or die. Because this is what the fuck you, look, the only thing, they know that we the only people who not going to take this type of shit. You see what I'm saying? All right. So what we about to do is we about to go to another video because what I want to show you, I want to, you know, make sure that I put this, you know, put the nail in the coffin on this in terms of it being theater. I want to show you that this, you know, obviously we know that this is political theater through and through. So we're going to play a video snippet by the great Bobby Hemmett and stuff like that. We're going to prime it. I want to preface it by 1976 Copyright Act, Section 107, allowances made for fair use for the purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, scholarship, education. But overall here at the FOF Squad, waking your ass up. All right. So in this video, I believe it was in 2006 because they're talking about the Hurricane Katrina crisis. And I believe Hurricane Katrina was in 2006 or 2004, somewhere between 2004 and 2006, I believe. All right. So don't quote me on that. All right, let's go.
And they both of them got jacked up.
Trying to swab their ass?
He ran into a car, got off and jacked up and broke up.
Might be, yeah.
Let the brother free.
Yep. Give me some questions right quick. Somebody had the hand, yeah. What's that? Oh yeah, all that stuff. But you know, I still say that this whole Israel thing is a bunch of decoy shit. You know what I'm saying? But then again, on the other hand, it's decoy. But then again, on the other hand, it's pandemonium. You see what I'm saying? It's pandemonium, like Iran talking that shit about your no good ass Jews. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just, I mean, it's decoy, but it's pandemonium. You see.
Back then, see, same story. 2004, 5, or 6, Iran, Jews, same shit. They figure like, nigga, why do we gotta reinvent the wheel if you niggas keep taking up and soaking up the same fucking stories? You see what I'm saying? This whole conflict, like we talked about, we have to, you know, like we, you know, one of the Christologians mentioned in the comment section, obviously, in order to create, you know, order out of chaos. You know, some of the things, the Hegelian dialectic is mentioned by a lot of other people too as well. But, you know, like we said, we have to stay on point with a lot of these things. And this information in and of itself, I believe, helps us to understand that obviously this is a very sophisticated game. Smoke and mirrors, if you will. You know, not our monkey, not our show, but we do know the clowns, right? But at the end of it, like we said, this is supposed to keep us on point. You know, we don't have to be paranoid, but we have to be aware. This is what it's all about. It's all about situational awareness. All right. So we know how to react when things do go down. So what we about to do is, let me get up out of here. So what we about to do is because I see it's a lot of things going on, and I think that it's important for us, obviously, as you know, we hit on these things because it's important for us to understand, you know, the what's on the surface level and the esoteric too as well, especially even if we explore the surface level stuff, if we do it here on this channel. And one of the things that's really been pissing me off, and I mean, you guys know this really tears at me, like one of the I remember I used to watch Family Guy a long time ago before I understood how, you know, crazy and whack that show was. But Peter Griffin had this thing called Grind My Gears or something that grind my gears. This shit grind my gears, bro. I ain't gonna hold you up. And it is us being the face of degeneracy. And we know it. You know, you got a lot of people, and a lot of people are getting a lot of traction. They're getting a lot of traffic to their channels because they keep talking about, you know, Puffy and his situation, right? But this is the thing that we got to understand when we go back. We already known this. Some people even go back all the way to the perennial stages of development of Hollywood and stuff like that. We know about the roaring 20s. We know in the early 20s and the 30s, all up until 1971, really, most drugs were considered legal. Cocaine, heroin, weed, all that different shit. So we got to understand we're doing nothing. Like they said, they just continue to keep, why reinvent the wheel? They just send you through a cycle. You see what I'm saying? You got to understand, a lot of people think that weed and cocaine and heroin was always illegal in the United States. Nothing could be further from the truth. I keep telling you, you got to understand how this Blanco move. All right? So, when we understand that part, when we take a look at, the drugs and all of that, what we're going to do, I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to show you that he always, or she always, had her hands in the esoteric stuff. Because what we told this Blanco woman is everywhere, always and shit. This is going to be a very powerful story. And I guarantee you, most of you, not all, some of you have probably heard about this shit, but most of you are not. How many heard of a Rothschild? Hold on. Let's play the video. I preface this by 1976 Copyright Act, Section 107. Allowances made for fair use for purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, education, scholarship. But overall here at the FOF Squad, waking your ass up. Let's get into it.
On the bebop Baroness who went where the music called her. Baroness Nica Rothschild ruled over the Stanhope Hotel in New York City, but people didn't realize she kept disturbing secrets locked up in her rooms. But one rainy night in 1955, a troubled man showed up at her door. Within hours, all of her secrets were out. More on that later. Kathleen Annie Pananica Rothschild, known as Nica. Now, Kathleen Rothschild. This bitch ran the jazz industry. So y'all know these so-called isn't really we already know Hollywood and all that different shit, but she had her tentacles in every jazz musician of the heyday. Oh, we about to get into it. And you think Diddy threw sex parties and murder and all of this? This is how, see, when you come into this fold, you got to know what you're doing, because they're making us the faces of degeneracy. But again, once we've already showed you and proven this has already been the nature of the Blanco, because we've shown you evidence with the 1884 convention with Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and it was a tradition for them to dress their little boys up as girls all up until they were 6 years old. Okay, so there is nothing new with this perverse behavior. This is what you need to understand. So let's get into it. Was born on December 10th, 1913, to one of the wealthiest banking dynasties in the world. Parents Charles and Rosica already had children Victor, Miriam, and Liberty, but as only sons could go into the family business, they were counting on a boy to give them a spare for their pre-existing heir. Don't worry, they got over it. Nica told everyone that the inspiration for her name was a butterfly her father, an amateur entomologist, discovered while visiting her mother's Hungarian estate. She knew full well the bright yellow and maroon-colored Eublema Pananica was, in fact, just a stylish moth. Nica's uncle Walter turned the family home into a natural museum and petting zoo.
Okay, we're gonna speed this up.
Exotic specimens such as stuffed demand, but they soon learned that their name made them targets. In Vienna, a conniving countess thought she could get her hands on all the Rothschilds' money by announcing Nica's engagement to her son in the paper. Problem was, Nica barely knew the guy. They only met a few times at a riding club. If the countess thought she could simply embarrass
we're gonna get to the meat of this right quick. Let's go.
From Tide, the #1 brand used by dermatologists.
Again, running her household on Jules's control freak schedule, feeling she was meant for more. They got on well enough to have 3 more children, Barrett, Sean, and Carrie, but the conflict had reduced their finances. Jules found work as an ambassador. His posting in Mexico would change her life. Playing the dutiful diplomat's wife in Mexico, she got a call from a friend to come over and listen to Duke Ellington's symphony, Black, Brown, and Beige, introduced on the recording as the parallel to the history of the Negro in America. It stirred her soul. Instantly, it was clear to her she belonged where the music was. She claimed it was a calling. She just wasn't sure how to answer it. If the Duke's music gave Nica life, another artist's work gave her a reason for living. On her way home after a trip from New York, She stopped by an old friend, Teddy Wilson's place before the airport. He played her Thelonious Monk's first record, Round Midnight, and it blew her mind. She listened to it 20 times in a row and missed her plane. Forget the husband and children. Monk was her new obsession, and she was determined to find him. Bebop was jazz you couldn't dance or sing to. It was rebellious and passionate like Nica, and she embraced the entire culture and learned about its inner circle. She befriended musicians and became known simply as the Baroness. She offered artists support and got their instruments out of hock, drove them to gigs, and helped them pay rent. But there was still no sign of the man who inspired her new life, nor was there much sign of her husband, who she seemed to have forgotten entirely about. Nica moved into the Stanhope Hotel as a permanent guest and immediately began to cause trouble. She liked to take aim with her pistol at the lights in the hallway. Interestingly, back in her dinner party days, Jules switched the light bulb on and off as a signal for Nica and other ladies to leave the gentleman in the room. He's lucky she didn't shoot one then. Nica would leave her Rolls Royce.
And he's so dry, but we're going to get through this because he got some important stuff in here. But one of the things, you know, she's called the Baroness now. She's the one, she's providing her with instruments now. She's searching for this dude named Monk because his music supposedly captivated her. Of course, we know that these Blancos knew the power of our music and our sound and stuff like that. This was something that we had already shades of when we was talked about with Pashaw Beverly Randolph, when he talked about our music and our understanding of vibration and stuff like that. We know that this bitch is a cult. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, she left her husband. He off in Mexico somewhere. He can't even keep track of this bitch. This bitch running around with niggas, Negroes. Okay, all right. And this shit is finna get real. Let's continue to keep going on.
Running outside the Stanhope in case she needed to dash out. She would race it, and later her Bebop Bentley against friends like Miles Davis, tearing up and down the streets of Manhattan. As part of their separation agreement, Jules stipulated that when the children visited, they could not be with her in the car. Who could blame him? When Nica heard Monk was playing in Paris, she jumped on a plane to see him. At last, he was, she said, the most beautiful man she had ever seen. Understanding his lingo,
she said he was the most beautiful man she had ever seen. Let's continue.
It was tricky at first, but the two still hit it off. They had such a ball in Paris that Nica rented the Royal Albert Hall in London so he could headline a series of jazz concerts. It didn't happen because she couldn't get the permits, but Nica vowed to make Monk a household name. The reason Nica hadn't found Monk in New York was that he couldn't play there. He lost his cabaret card in 1951 when he took the blame for a friend's narcotic stash. Nica fought tirelessly to have it reinstated, though it didn't happen until 1957. Monk resented watching artists he influenced gain popularity while he could not. So did Nica, but were her efforts on his behalf driven by love? There was a lot more to the relationship.
Now you got to ask yourself something. This bitch is a Rothschild. Supposedly these Europeans, they got opera. This bitch can go to Australia and witness the opera. What the fuck you around niggas for? You a fucking Rothschild. Oh, boy. Hold on, let's go.
That meets the eye. Monk's son, Toot, thought Nica was in love with his father. He was a good-looking cat, and she was a hottie. But there were never any signs of affection other than kisses on the cheek. When asked if they've ever slept together, Monk said, "Why would I do that to my best friend?" If nothing else, they were kindred spirits. Nica loved his genius, and he loved her for it. Besides, he had a wife. Monk's wife, Nellie, had to work hard to support her husband and children. When Nica pulled up to their San Juan district apartment in the Rolls...
Hold on, that's him right there. He driving the Rolls Royce. This nigga in New York, that's the 50s and 60s. Do you hear what the fuck I'm saying to y'all? What type of power does this white woman have to be driving around with niggas, fucking niggas in New York and nobody getting touched? Woo! Woo! I don't know if you, man, Puffy better Puffy better dig this bitch up from the grave. Figure out how she did it.
It was a blessing in a leopard fur coat. The woman agreed to share the load in caring for Monk. Sometimes they'd step out together. Nellie on Monk's left arm, Nica on his right.
She would be on his left arm, his wife would be on the right. What type of witchcraft? Where you got a black woman who will let a white woman walk down the road with her, walk down the street with her husband, she in his right hand, the white woman in his left. Man, boy.
Monk adored his wife, and Nica respected that. Nica's relationship with Monk solidified her reputation in the jazz world. She was far more than a groupie. and Monk was pretty proud to have a Rothschild on his arm.
She was far more than a groupie, but was more than happy to have a Rothschild. You see how he was trying to play it? Like, oh, didn't nobody think that they were sleeping together. She just said he was the most beautiful man in the world, running around, trying to get his charges. Come on, man. Come on now. Come on now.
Sometimes big Hollywood stars would show up at the clubs, but they weren't who musicians were trying to impress. When she was in the audience, word would spread, play well, the Baroness is out front. Like Nica's father, Monk had mental health issues, and the consequences were terrifying. Sadly, being an addict exacerbated them. He had wild mood swings and would go days without sleep. Nellie would call Nica to help when Monk was on a
wild mood swings, days without sleep. You would call the white bitch to come help, not a doctor? Cause this witchcraft. We already know this occult shit. You already know this occult shit. And of course, because we think everybody with black skin rocking with us, this bitch right here, I don't give a fuck. I got respect for our sisters, but anytime you fuck around with these black magic ass, I wouldn't even say black magic, let's say white magic, because black magic is good shit. You fuck around with white magic with these motherfuckers and let them corrupt you like this and your children, you deserve every fucking thing you get. Let's go.
Destructive bender. He once tried to leave an airplane mid-flight. Nica would laugh and say with Monk, she'd been in more.
This motherfucker tried to leave an airplane mid-flight. Okay? Look at this devil shit. This all, man, come on, man, stop.
More nut houses than you would believe. Nica generally moved from one hotel to another. Noise complaints and Monk's habit of wandering into rooms that weren't his were the usual reasons. With Victor's help, she finally bought her own large home in New Jersey, overlooking the Hudson. But she was more interested in filling it with cats than furniture. At one count, she had 306.
Bitch filled her house with 306. Of course, take away the 036, occult shit. Of course, you got the checkered shit. We see the check. I mean, come on, man. This shit ain't rocket science, right? But we just gonna go through the shit.
Monk hated cats, but that's where the Steinway was. On October 15th, 1958, Nica, Monk, and a musician named Charlie Rouse were driving to a gig in Baltimore.
Right, 306 cats. My man, the nigga say she was instructed to call that restaurant. Jean Grey say, damn cat lady. I know. What was he doing? 306 cats and a white bitch? What you gonna do with all that pussy? Come on now. Let's go.
Monk asked Nica to pull over so he could use the restroom. West of the Mason-Dixon line, segregation was still common, and it was a while before they found a motel with an all-welcome sign. Monk used the facilities while Nica and Charles waited outside, but when he asked the desk clerk for a glass of water, she panicked and called the authorities. Monk was in the back of a car when an officer pulled up and asked him to step out. He ignored the request while Nica explained who he was. She thought they'd been free to go, but she was dead wrong. More officers showed up, dragged Monk out of the car, and beat him unconscious. She begged them to stop, pleading with them to be careful of his hands. A search of the car conducted only after Nica asked what the charge.
That nigga was getting beat. That white bitch was like, hold on, don't harm his hands, though. Hit him chest, legs, back maybe. Don't fuck with the hands, okay?
Turned up marijuana. She lied and claimed it was hers. The judge threw the book at Nica on April 21st, 1951. She had to pay a $3,000 fine and serve a 3-year sentence in prison, to be followed by deportation. Her family hired a lawyer who immediately filed an appeal, and Victor posted her bail. For 2 years, the threat of jail and exile hung over her. Finally, a judge dismissed the case on
exactly. Like, who the fuck? This is a fucking Rothschild. What the fuck do you think? You think you finna put a Rothschild in jail for 3 years? Shit. These blackos, man, be tripping me the fuck. Okay, let's continue.
Followed proper search procedures. By the 60s, Monk had gained widespread recognition, but exhaustion, substance misuse, and a grueling tour put him in a brief coma and led to mental breakdowns. Unfortunately, this had a devastating side effect. Nica fought Nellie over his treatments. When Nellie wanted him on a juice diet, Nica stuck him steak. When she signed Monk up for electroshock therapy, Nica blew the bank on alternatives.
See, blew the bank on alternative. What type of alternative? His woman, his wife, trying to get him treatment, trying to get him back to nature, juicing and shit. What that bitch do? Now here goes steak and blood. You know how them, they want that bloody shit. Okay, so that just goes to show you. But look, still how we're gonna see even later on in this video how all of them were transfixed by this witch, though, right? So because we're gonna see how powerful this is, right?
Nellie got fed up with the interference, and soon Monk was fed up with Nellie. In 1972, he moved in with Nica for good. Monk saw
So that motherfucking nigga leave his wife and move in with a Rothschild. Woo! What makes you got to understand how deep this occult shit is. You think the Rothschild family would allow this shit? Oh my goodness. We not asking the right questions. Who asking the right questions in the chat? Who asking the right questions in the chat? You think the Rothschild family, as powerful as they are, would have allowed this shit? Look at this nigga looking like a damn near reborn Aleister Crowley in blackface and shit. You already know what was going down in that bitch. Let's go.
Suffered a massive heart attack in February of 1982. At his funeral, Nica and Nelly sat together in the front row of the church as mourners paid respects.
And she sat. Now this nigga left her for this white bitch. This motherfucker still sit. Hold on, go back.
In February of 1982. At his funeral, Nica and Nelly sat together in the...
They still sit together. And look at this evil. This pure evil. Bitch look like a linebacker, but this is pure evil. Yeah, she could be playing for the Kansas City Chiefs, but she's not. She was back in the day sitting up there manipulating our artists and shit, siphoning off their energy. We already know about the plasma. These is fucking vampires, is what the fuck they are. All right?
Front row of the church as mourners paid respects to them both. Nelly and Monk's children rode with Nica instead of in the family limo during the funeral procession. But along the way, the car broke down. Nica and her famous bebop Bentley stayed on the side of the road while the cortege continued. A sad ending to this chapter of her life. Nica's favorite hotel, the Stanhope, was segregated, but Nica refused to sneak friends up to her room and walked in with them openly. She kept a piano in her suite.
Now, the hotel was segregated, yet she can walk niggas up to her room. You know, segregation was backed by law enforcement. Once again, showing you the power. They knew the esoteric meaning behind this shit because most officers are involved. We know about the fraternal order. These are all Masons, lawyers, judges, doctors, teachers. You are surrounded by the occult. Remember, the first party in the United States of America, the second party, the second official party in the United States of America was not a Democrat or Republican. The first party in America was called the Democrat Republicans. It was one fucking party. And the second official party in the United States was called the Anti-Masonic Party. The so-called quote-unquote American public was such in fear of the Masonic Party that they cultivated or created a political party to run against them to ensure that they didn't have power, because they knew that every area of life activity had been sieged by these individuals who claimed that they were in the occult. Let's continue.
For Monk and others to play, and sometimes jam sessions got rowdy. There were complaints that many of her guests were users, and this was true. The hotel tried to get Nica to vacate by increasing her rent and moving her into smaller rooms.
So she already breaking the law. It's against the law for you to have niggas in the hotel, but the only measure they could take is by increasing her rent to a Rothschild. Bitch, what? How much can you increase the rent to a fucking Rothschild? Oh my, let's continue.
Soon she had no choice.
Probably the most common question that I'm asked as a professor.
Jazz legend Charlie Bird Parker was a notorious addict. He was in a shocking state when he knocked on Nica's door on the rainy night of March.
So Charlie Bird Parker, he knocking on this witch door, shaking and all your jazz greats. This bitch control them all. This witch got, I'm breaking down doors. I don't see, you know why niggas not doing this? Because they know that they get more plug from talking about Puffy. They get more. See, when we down our own people, not saying that Puffy not wrong. We get that. I'm not, I don't talk about none of that shit. But I'm telling you that they're making us the face of degeneracy and degenerate behavior. This they shit. When did you look at this? You ever seen a Blanco help a nigga out of a? Look at this. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. I don't know what to do. I don't know. See, they was playing one thing towards you, but they knew that. See, these niggas was in the occult. From all of the individuals that I showed you, from the Frederick Douglass to W.E.B. Du Bois and all of these niggas, they all been in the occult. and, you know, channeling our energy with music and sex magic. We've already told you about the esoteric part of the game, but these are the faces, because remember, a lot of times people like to say, oh, I wonder who was involved, who are the faces, who are the they. Everybody wants to put names and faces to these individuals, because so many times it's you know, obviously overshadow, you know, in the shadows with people's names, and, you know, the Rothschilds and this here go your faces. Here go the people who siphoned off our energy. Because you got to remember, when these individuals catapulted their way to success and became the face of our energy, then in turn, we reinforced it with our energy, giving it back to them. Okay? This is very crucial.
1955. His feet were swollen, and he was suffering from liver damage and stomach ulcers. Nica was still negotiating separation terms with Jules, and her daughter, Janka, was staying with her. She could have understandably turned Parker away, but she didn't. Sadly, things were about to take an even darker turn. Nica bypassed the hotel's on-call doctor and asked her personal physician to come to check on Parker. The doctor prescribed an unknown treatment and then left Parker to Nica and Janka's care. He was sitting on the couch watching a variety show on TV, and just as he started to laugh, he suddenly choked and died. Nica swore that she heard a clap of thunder at the same moment. A great was gone, and more trouble was to come. The event thrust Nica into a harsh spotlight of suspicion. Why did it take 48 hours to report Parker's death? Nica said this was because...
Why did it take 48 hours to report his death? It was like a bout of thunderclap when he left. And man, look at this sick shit. I keep telling y'all, this is what Puffy and them got themselves into. All right? This ain't stopping when they siphoning off our fucking energy.
She wanted to tell his estranged wife first, but skeptics jumped with questions. Why did the medical examiner come to her room? What was with the mislabeling his body and leaving it in the morgue? Some suggested there were sinister reasons behind it. One wild theory said Nica needed time to cover up a murder. A fight between her lover Art Blakely and Parker ended with Bird shot in the stomach. Nica's great-niece Hannah Rothschild said she once received an email from a woman claiming she witnessed Nica shoot Parker. And why, the woman said? Nica disliked addicts. Given her chosen lifestyle, this doesn't really ring true, but the truth doesn't always sell papers. Headlines like "Bird dies in Baroness Boudoir" painted Nica as a wicked temptress who preyed on vulnerable souls. Famous columnist Walter Winchell had a hate-on for Nica and vilified her mercilessly as a dealing hussy. Parker would have collapsed on the street if not for Nica, but she paid a cruel price for her kindness. The Stanhope evicted her, and authorities harassed her, and Jules finally filed for divorce. At 69, Nica could have gone to live with family, but she opted to stay with her cats and a musician named Barry Harris. Far from becoming a homebody, she remained a night owl, continuing to visit clubs and follow new music. Clint Eastwood sought her out to consult on his 1986 Charlie Parker biopic, Bird. Initially, she thought the actor...
So then Charlie Parker biopic, then Hollywood do this esoteric shit, make a damn biopic about the nigga. You know Clint Eastwood racist as fuck, but that don't matter to these motherfuckers who into dark magic. Let's go.
Just playing her looked like a constipated horse, but by the premiere, she was cool with how the picture turned out. Nica asked every musician she met to tell her the 3 things they wanted most, and her children published those interviews in The Musicians and Their 3 Wishes. Miles Davis answered, to be white. Louis Armstrong.
Miles Davis answered, to be white. Whoa. Oh my, I think I'm about to, am I killing you niggas yet? Miles Davis said he wanted to be white. That was one of his 3 wishes. Okay? All right?
To live 100 years. And Monk, to have a wonderful friend like you. She gave so many all she had, and they thanked her in the best way they could, naming and dedicating at least 20 songs inspired by her, including Monk.
Naming at least 20 songs. Miles Davis, Charlie Parker, all these motherfuckers. All right?
Panonica. In November of 1988, Nica had a triple aorta coronary bypass. She hoped to make a full recovery, but after 74 years of hard living, a few car crashes, and even a brief bout of cancer, her heart gave up. In her will, she requested that her family cremate her body, hire a boat, and scatter her ashes in the Hudson River, with the specific instruction that it should be done around midnight. If you've enjoyed these stories...
All right. So as you can see, brothers and sisters, from the wars to end the wars between our people, war in entertainment, war in sexuality, all of these areas of life activity, education, economics, entertainment, labor, law, politics, sex, religion, and war that Dr. Frances Wilson and Neely Fuller articulated are the realms that they control with an iron fist, are all realms that we have to be liberated from if we intend to truly garner access to the supernatural. And that bridge obviously is something that's real, because we know truth is stranger than fiction. We have to understand it is in us. We know it is in us. All right. You don't see, this is nothing like we said before, where, you know, many times you find people out there searching, right? You know, for something to, you know, that'd be concrete, resolute. And all you have to do is just look in that mirror and see the magnificence in the creation that is you. Being a vanguard, being, you know, the end result of Mother Nature, as she cries out and says, everything that I have put into this planet, I have put into you. And I need you to do your job. That is what is required of you. You can no longer look for all of these, you know, attempts at even bridging gaps with other people, or, you know, coalition forces, as they call it. All of these things are ill to none. If you want the secret is inside of you. Mother Earth had given you exactly what was necessary in order to, you know, create that bridge from the natural to the supernatural. It must be done. It is something that they continue to practice each and every day, and it grows with each and more, you know, with much more sophistication. When you start to see the chasm that is between you and them, eventually, yes, now the reality will become exact, or their reality will be, or their declaration will become a reality, because now, as they have, you know, feigned this idea of being gods, eventually you will see them as one, because you will have spent so much time in you know, in a state of normalcy, and you would have seen them catapult to godlike status, that you will capitulate. You will see all these advancements. You will see all, you know, all of this progress in a particular area, and you won't be able to fight against the momentum being pushed forth through this by the system, right? Because everybody has most of our people distracted, and then of course, like I said, in the end, I can't too much worry about people being distracted, because this is only really meant for the chosen. I swear on everything I love, it's really only meant for the chosen. And you guys being here right now, you understand that. Nobody understands that more than the FOS squad, I believe, because I'm telling you, the jig is up with paying attention to currencies and this, that, and the other. Dig deep inside of yourself. Harness the imaginative power that you have. Trust me, because I had one hell of a, man, I'm telling you, that was a phenomenal experience for me. Like when I said, like, when I tell you that you cannot, and I've seen movies and you know, and all that different stuff about eclipses, and you'll see it. I've seen TV shows based on it, but to see it in person, I mean, to see the blackest of the black, and I mean the ring of fire that was around it, and it was like clouds were like going into a vortex. It was the most amazing shit I've ever seen in my life. Barring my son being born. I mean, but in terms of celestial phenomenon, it was the most amazing shit I've ever seen in my life. And so, like I said, I encourage you brothers to understand, like, when this is why it's so important to witness these celestial phenomena and actually taking the radiation. I had my crystal out. My crystal was getting this crystal now, and this is a talisman. See, when you use, this is about, remember we talked about doing the crystal work. You see what I'm saying? So when during that whole day, mind you, light is a messenger. Angels, you know all about light energy. We showed you the videos about how light carries energy. You know this with your phone and your tablets. Electricity is light, obviously. It runs through, and then what does it do? It's able to give you sound. It's able to give you visual images and stuff like that, or images. So you have to understand that light carries information. So it was unfortunate that those who consider themselves to be adept not actually personally want to witness that event themselves if they had the ability to do so. Because you were there to receive information. And I would have been damned if I missed it. And then that gives you an opportunity to create a talisman. I held my crystal up to that sun for 3 hours. All I had to do is just sit there and stand. I was gazing. My crystal was soaking up the energy. My copper bracelet. These are all talisman now. These all have the energy from that eclipse stored inside of it. Oh my goodness. Let me go to the chat. Go to the chat right quick. Because my phone tripping. It don't want to show me shit. All right. It's tripping. All right. Let me see something. The show is close. That ritual, blah, crap. All of them sing love songs to the white woman like a chant. Yeah, like, come on, man. This shit crazy, right? Avery said, oh, no, what the ashes scattered around the midnight. All right. Avery said, this itch in her family is the reason why the world is $300 trillion. I'm trying to tell you. All right. Bama girl said, I grounded all that day, brother. That's excellent. That's excellent, right? All right. So we got a few minutes for some Q&A. It's kind of like, because I really didn't have, I knew that if I didn't make a video, I know it was impromptu. It seemed all over the place. I just kind of wanted to tackle some points, and I just really wanted to connect with you guys too. I missed the FOS squad. They be having us work. As soon as I got off vacation, they're like, oh, 6 days, 10-hour work. I was like, God damn. They want their time back. They're like, nah, you went on vacation, dude. We want our time back. You know what I'm saying? Unica Rector said, Lovecraft Country. Man, Unica Rector, you already know. If anybody knows Hey Roo, they already know. Django, Lovecraft Country. Can't miss with those two. You just can't miss with them. You just can't miss with them. Let's see. Let's see. All right. All right, so I'm gonna be looking in the chat. We can just connect for a second. I'm just look in the chat, see if you guys got any questions, comments, concerns about what's going on, anything that's been going on. You guys just kind of want to put on the chat any mentions and stuff. Hamichi said you haven't rewatched The Last Dragon. I didn't rewatch it yet, and I gotta get on that because you know what you know what? I'm finna do that tonight. I'm finna get on that. Thanks for reminding me, Hamichi. I'm finna get on that. I'm about to get on that. So, Letitia Taylor in the building. What's up, Letitia? All right. What's up, Ahava? I never forgot to say your name. You gotta, send me a message. Let me know how to pronounce it and stuff. It seems like such a beautiful name too. She says, "Much love, Hey Roo. Appreciate it." I think it's Uriah. Uriah Ahava. That sounds so dope. All right. Hey Roo, they had you working on. Hell no, she great saying, hey, we had you working all of ours to pay the world debt. I'm trying to tell you, shit, this shit crazy. Like, I'm like, I figure I do it. Golly, shit. All right. Yeah, but I think it's, to me personally, like I said, man, I'm just in awe, like how we become the face of degeneracy. I am. I'm in awe of it. I hate it. I detest it. For our women, our men, all of it collectively. And like I said before, it's hard to sit up here and to, absorb or, all of the energy that comes from that, because I know a lot of our people are not on our train. You know what I'm saying? They're not rocking with us and not all chosen, but it still hurts to see that, because we know if we've gotten this low, it's because it's actually been, something that they've put a lot of effort into making sure it happens. Tammy Dorsey said, your work is pure fire. Appreciate you, Tammy. I appreciate that. Shy City said, I'm late, but I'm definitely said I'm late. That's what's up. Rewatching it later, no doubt. I said, Letitia Taylor said it was cloudy in Texas, but it cleared at just the right moment. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thought on Blue Lotus. Blue Lotus, put more information in the chat. Jamal Mills. Okay. Uriah Ahava said, do you think we can fix the divide between men and women? No, I don't. I think the chasm is too big. You know what I'm saying? You can see it's already fixed with this, us. We ain't got no problems. We ain't got no problems. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I think if you fall victim to that, it's because you desire. If you know, you see a lot of low level thinkers when you see those YouTube channels pop up. Oh, this woman did this. Oh, she said this date. Man, the world is literally collapsing around you. I mean, if that's what the fuck you thinking about, I feel like I don't even want to hang around you. We ain't gonna have nothing to talk about. Is, you know, I just don't see myself. I don't personally see myself trying to be around a woman who I can't vibe with. I can't talk to. I mean, shit, hell, I'm past the days when I'm just fuck hungry. You know, you 19, 20 years old. You just want to fuck. You don't give a fuck if the bitch can talk, speak. You like, oh shit, I'm 19 or 20, dick hard as a damn cement truck loader. Hey, I'm fucking trying to, you know. But you're grown now. You're a grown man. I'm grown. I'm super grown. All right. But I think it's trivial arguments, you know, like you said, though, to be honest, you know, to all jokes aside, I think it's trivial arguments. The reason being is because the family has been destroyed, you know, at the fundamental level. Anytime that we're waiting, you know, for you know, changes in a person's mindset, you know, to occur when they're 20, 25 years old, they're already set in their place. We ignore our children. You know, we allow them to be indoctrinated and conditioned by the K through 12 mind fucked, and all of a sudden we sit up here and we're like, oh, I wonder why he likes white women, or I wonder why she likes white men, or I wonder why she's it's a wrap by then. They went through the K through 12 mind fuck. You done put a phone and a tablet in their face to condition them for hours on end. Then you think if you sit down for an hour or two, you be like, oh, I had a talk with them for 2 hours. It seemed meaningful. Okay, yo, 2 hours versus millions of hours of tablet. Nah, man, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. John Kerr said the Ghostbusters movie shows the crystal symbolism shown by you in your previous videos. Once you spot it, then you can see the 2 points of view. Oh yeah, that is awesome, ain't it? Hamid just had some wild dreams on Blue Lotus. Okay, hold on. Now Blue Lotus, I think he did say. All right. Jamal Mills said the Blue Lotus is a psychoactive plant that the ancient Egyptians would use. It's legal in the state, and I recently purchased some. Wanted to see if you had some insight. Oh no, I've never. I would have to research Blue Lotus. I've never heard of Blue Lotus before. I mean, I've heard of the plant. I didn't know that that specific. Now, is that a nickname for it, or is it actually a lotus plant? Because that would be interesting. I've never heard of a lotus plant having psychoactive properties. Now, if it's from the lotus family, that would be interesting. So yeah, I would definitely be interested in that. Yeah, I'm gonna research that when we got. Yeah, that's definitely dope. I want to learn more about that. You said, how do you get along with people who ain't working on their consciousness? See, we all have, that's, you know, the root word of personality is called a mask. It's just like when you go to work. You know, I go to work, man, people, man, Blancos at work, they be like, oh my God, you know, here's Hey Roo, how you doing, man? Yeah, what's up, man? Chill, talk. You know, other than that, like in certain positions, see, the thing is like what you have to understand is about energy conservation. Your energy is extremely important because, like we said, at every level, at the human level, and I use that word term loosely, everybody is an energy vampire. We all look for adoration. We all look to be loved. This is energy and emotion. We're all energy vampires to a degree. You see what I'm saying? So what we have to understand is that we don't see anybody who is emotionally mature, or they have mature yet, because remember, there's an axiom, which I think that it always had a huge impact on me when I read it. It said, age, AGE, is a high price to pay for maturity. So you don't want to get old and be dumb. You see what I'm saying? And of course, you already know the other axiom, which is that it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. So, people become stubborn, and we know that there's always cognitive dissonance that plays a role in all this different stuff. But anytime that you run across someone who stagnates themselves and always is like, oh man, I don't, think that life is easy, I stay away from them people. Like it's a friend of mine, and I'm still cool with this cat. I found out that he works at the job. And because he works a different shift, he works first shift, and I ain't seen him. And then, I was real cool with his cousin growing up. And, he's like, man, you always stay fit. Now, mind you, he's like 10, 15 years younger than me. And, he's got the little pot belly and all of it. He's like, man, you gonna help me get in shape and all the different stuff. And then I didn't really play it all. Yeah, I guess I did. I did play it all. I played it all because I knew he was bullshitting. I was like, yeah, man, just hit me up, blah, blah, blah. We talk about all. Because you bullshit me, I know I'm gonna bullshit you. You see what I'm saying? Because how did I know he was bullshitting? When I first ran into him at the job, he was like, man, you should come to my department. We don't do nothing. See, even though I don't like coming to work for these Blancos, I don't like to not do nothing. It's just not in my spirit. This is how I know we wouldn't get along. Because, nigga, you like to do nothing. See, Right there. These are cues. See, a lot of times we get the cues and we still want to fuck with people. No, you give me a cue. You say anything lazy out your motherfucking mouth. Hey, Rue is through fucking with you because Hey, Rue not lazy. And you gonna look at me like I'm a madman. Like even my baby mom, when I used to, that song that you guys love at the end, when we were in the studio, it was a certain note that I was trying to tell her to hit because she had practiced it at the crib. I was like, damn, I said, baby, you should hit that note. Hit it like this. So when we got in the studio, she was, of course she was a little bit under the weather and shit. So I kind of gave her a little bit of leeway, but I knew that if we left out with the way the song was supposed to be, you wasn't gonna leave out there like, if I could have did this, did that. So I pushed her and she was in there crying like, you so hard on me, blah, blah. But I said, when it's done, you're gonna love it. And then when Flex got done mixing and mastering it, she started crying. She's like, oh my God, the song is so beautiful. See, some people you gotta push. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said a lot of times I realized that I've been around a lot of people throughout the duration of my life who I had to push a lot. And I had to be pushed. That's good though. But, I recognize that too. I've had a lot of that energy resides inside of me. So, I had to be careful of being around people who relied on me to push them because every night, I wasn't always 110 all the time with a 10% margin of error. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you float under that 100%. You ain't feeling all the way. You need a pep talk or a pick me up or somebody to inspire you. And so that was why it's extremely important to stay away from emotional vampires. It's tough because we're social creatures, right? We want to be around people. But you honestly have to evaluate your life and say, okay, where is the me time? At some point in time, I'm going to have to master myself or put more time into it. And it's a paradoxical situation for a human being because when we're in a relationship, we don't want to be in like, this motherfucker, I wish I was single. Then when we single, we're like, I wish I was with somebody. Shut the fuck up. Do the work. The one says, do you have any advice on how to gain a spark and become back passionate about life again? When I became awakened, I lost all interest in this world because I know it's a zoo and artificial reality. Yeah, you can be disengaged with the world, but you don't have to be disengaged with the experience of life. It's so much mystery. See, to sit up here and to assume that the Blanco is giving us all the answers to Earth is the biggest mistake of your life. You're just getting started. You see what I'm saying? Have you ever heard? It's like when people get money, they say, he got all the money in the world. What could you give him? Maybe answers to life. This nigga don't know everything about life just because he got money. What, life stops once you got... See, and this is the problem. The Blanco's artificial matrix is so powerful, we feel or we assume that because he's written a book on it, somehow we know it. Or somehow it's been explained. No, life is still a mystery. So we cannot allow him to captivate our imagination and for us to lose the excitement we have about life into bridging the gap from the natural to the supernatural. All right? All right. Let's see. Said, Jay Chosen said Superman got stronger in all aspects when in the Fortress of Solitude. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got to watch that, too. I got to sit back and watch that. What was that, 1978 Superman, I believe, or something like that? Yeah, that definitely is. And Nega said, shit is primarily the money keeping us from nature. Yeah, and the idea of it. You know what I'm saying? Like this Blanco's way of life, everything to assume that money's going to solve our problems and all that different stuff. Of course, we have to have it. Who you talking to me? I work. So I know what it's like to work to obviously try to keep your head above water and stuff. But at the end of the day, like we said, it doesn't stop me or deter me from spending every waking moment that I have available to me to make it happen. I don't give a fuck how it has to happen. And sometimes I don't even know what it is that has to happen. That's okay. Sometimes you think you gotta know. I gotta have a plan. No, trust the innate intelligence. It is more intelligent than you. If you had to, if it was you who had to control your breathing, break down your food and all that, you'd be dead. You would have been dead soon as you, you see what I'm saying? So like we said, pay attention to the innate intelligence. A lot of times you don't have to know the answer. Only thing you have to know is that it knows the answer. Because remind you, the innate intelligence uses the energy that is a mystery to the conscious mind. The heart uses electricity. The brain uses electricity to create your reality or your holographic reality. However you want to, declare it. The point being is that it comes from an innate intelligence. This is something that nobody can deny you. Where is your memory at? When you think of someone right now, yeah, you can imagine them, but where is that at in your brain? Think critically about the beauty and the mastery of nature and how she has infused it into you. And yet, that's why I say, man, it's just such a big thing to me to help my people to understand the chosen, not all of us, but the chosen to realize just how special you are for even being aware of this, for even being able to, grasp this right now. From X-ray crystallography to, the signs and symbols and all this different stuff. This is heavy shit. This is alchemy right here. Alchemy 101. And I guarantee you, if you go to any channel talking about alchemy and all these different, they definitely didn't run through what Heru ran through. Literally, from the alchemical ties that I have with the brothers who taught me alchemy, I would get in trouble for telling y'all the shit that I told y'all. Because you're supposed to be around somebody who learned and they had to make this information responsible. As you've seen people in the chat, we've gravitated to this. And I trusted the Most High that I would run into spirits who would be ready for this information. I don't care about none of that shit. I know even from the members that I have, you see the views always exceed my membership. Because people be watching, they be sidelining, they be wanting to know what the fuck going on, and they know they can't fuck with the squad. Because, hey, we bring nothing but the facts, right? Nica Rothschild said, I move with divine timing. Just straight up. Chris said, I'm almost done my 12-hour shift. Yeah, I'm telling you, I maximize my shit because when I'm working, you better believe I'm either listening to Spanish, German, I'm watching a video on something. Like, I will not give them my complete time. I've made it so that I can do your work. And they allow you to use your phone. They just tell you, just don't, lead us to believe that it's distracting you from your work. And that's cool with me. You see what I'm saying? So while I'm doing that, I'm learning different languages. I can't allow them to leave me behind. It's on me. Some things I have to take responsibility for. And the lazier you get, and remind you, it's all about, at the end of the day, it's how committed you are to mastering this crystal right in here. Right? And so we have to challenge ourselves, and believe me, I can do it, because when I started, it began at the beginning of the year when I really got serious with taking Spanish, you know what I'm saying? And I would dedicate, like, I'll be at work, I would take 3 or 4 hours of listening to nothing but Spanish videos for like 2 weeks straight. Then I'd take a week off, 2 weeks straight, listen to, and then it'd just be movies. And I don't even watch the movie, I just listen to them talk. I get adept to hearing the native tongue and all of that different stuff. Then I'll switch to German, Japanese. I don't give a fuck how much I retain. I'm not worried about whether or not retain it, because this is something that you got to understand, brothers and sisters. These are life hacks. Learning the language is a life hack. When you watching something, one thing you got to understand, just like a baby. A baby doesn't worry about whether or not it's going to pick the words up. It just listens to you. You see what I'm saying? And this is the same thing. We have to have a childlike energy when we're approaching knowledge. Don't worry about whether or not you're going to learn Japanese or German. Matter of fact, it was a guy who teaches, one of the instructors that I listen to, his name is Michelle Thomas. And he said, this is something that will help you gain confidence on learning the language. He said the average person only has 1,000-word vocabulary. The average person only has 1,000-word vocabulary. So when you put that into perspective, as long as you have 1,000-word vocabulary in the language, you are damn near proficient in that language. So we got to stop. We got to get the mysticism out of shit. Stop making shit so tough for ourselves. Because that's what discourages you. You quit something before you even start. Oh, I can't do that. You're not even starting it. Okay? Niggas say nobody got time for that. Jay Chosen said they say immersion and trying to think in the language will help tremendously. Oh yeah. You gotta immerse yourself in the language. Like I watch movies in the language and all, because the speed at which they talk is totally different, right? Obviously, you get some Englishman teaching you Spanish, man, that shit's whack. You can't, that's what I'm saying. We would do that shit. We would go to these colleges, and if it's not a native speaker, we would learn how to speak another language from a person who that's not their mother tongue, and we wonder why we can't speak the language. Have you noticed that? So many people are like, oh, I took college Spanish courses and all this different shit. Was it a native teacher? No. Then why do you think you failed? That's how arrogant the Blanco is. Don't de mucho nuevo ocho. Them Blancos be trying to teach a nigga Spanish and shit. You know what I'm saying? Fuck out of here. Say, it's polarity. Hold on, let me read this. Is polarity based on energy exchange? I'm asking because I feel like I don't see reciprocity in my relationships and ones around me. You know, it depends on what you mean by polarity, because if something is polarizing, it could prevent energy exchange. You know, that's the thing about polarity in terms of how it's used from a scientific perspective. But I do feel like, yeah, you know, if there's no reciprocity in your relationships, if there's a equal exchange, because that's what it is in terms of what they quantify or what they articulate as interpersonal relationships, or relationships between, you know, two people. You know what I'm saying? If you're exchanging information or energy more so than one other person is, then that person is dominating the relationship. That's also a law in the 48 laws of power. The person who puts the least amount of energy into a relationship dominates it. And I always get this story because I remember this girl. I'm not finna say her name, but I remember in high school, she used to love her some Hey Roo. Every time she seen me, she's like, oh, Hey Roo, you look so cute today. Ooh, Hey Roo, I love you. Hey, blah, blah, blah. She used to steal stuff to give it to me. She stole her daddy necklace and gave it to me. And I knew it was a daddy necklace when I was walking to school. She's like, nigga, you got my necklace on. That's scared the shit out of me too. But anyways, the point being was like, one day, I guess she was upset or something. She just walked right past me. She didn't say shit to me. And I was like, damn, what, Hey Roo ain't cute today? So I'm like, snatch that, turn that table right around me. And I ain't even like the girl, but I was dominating her relationship because I put the least amount of energy into it, but yet those tables were reversed. So we got to understand, like you said, in terms of energy, if it's not reciprocal, yeah, of course, you know, you want to make sure that you're not putting too much into that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I wouldn't do that. Say Angel Love 777 said Blanco making it look like rocket science when it's not. I'm trying to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm going back up in the chat, see if I missed some of these questions or there are comments. Oh, Jamal Mills said the Blue Lotus is actually a lily. Okay, all right. And Devin the Dude said possible to do a live on healthy eating. All right, yeah, we've done a couple of those. And, you know, like I said, too, one of the things that I'm about to do is I'm about to get my water tested. I'm finna pay for it. I was too busy today to go out, you know, obviously, because I had to go to work. I was at work and shit. You know what I'm saying? Plus, like, they're not open. You know, a lot of these government buildings are not open on the weekdays and stuff like that. But, you know, one thing that I will give you guys, and I do this, and I've been discussing it with friends and stuff like that, and I told you guys, and I'm not ashamed to talk about it because I'm just like the dude who called himself the health ranger, the white dude. He was like, I bathe when it rains or something like that. But I don't bathe when it rains. I actually every day I take this big huge pot and I got this filter and I fill that motherfucker up with like a gallon, 2 gallons, 3 gallons, or however much of boiling clean fresh water. And then I stand in my bathtub and then I bathe myself with scrubs and all that different stuff. And I stand there for 15, 20 minutes, get a nice clean scrub going on like I'm bathing, but clean fresh water, in my opinion, have never felt better. I don't fuck with that water. That water is fucking trash, man. And see, one thing that we gotta understand, I went past a billboard in Michigan and it said that 6,000 cases of blood cancer are diagnosed every year in Michigan. 6,000 new blood cases. Now, mind you, we already said that the blood is 98% water. So if you have a blood disorder, you have a water disorder. Okay? They know that this water is trash. Okay? So the thing is, they know that your skin is your largest organ. So before any other organ besides the brain can become saturated or hydrated, the skin is main priority. But one thing, what happens is that they put all these organisms in the water, including fluoride, which is, as we already talked about, the most toxic element in the periodic table of elements in terms of ionizing radiation. All right, eating away at your skin, allowing bacteria and fungus and virus to get through. All right, this is why you're sick. I'm telling you. Remember, I did a video on this. It's called "It's in the Water." All right, and I'm letting you know that in terms of your health, you know, the breakdown of the body occurs by water. You cannot, and I mean you cannot, underestimate the power of water, brothers and sisters. When you go into that gas chamber you call a bathroom, I don't care how pretty it look. I don't care how you dotted it up. I don't care how many pictures you put in there. I don't care if you got the whole thing with the Last Supper and you right there as one of the apostles and shit. I don't care how good your bathroom look. What's coming out of that faucet is killing you. I can guarantee it. I can guarantee it. Okay? Kyle said my Uncle Punkin from Detroit died of blood. Yeah, and I went out, man, this old trash ass water here in Michigan. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, like they said in that documentary, with the Nestle documentary, they said they said we don't have any rights to clean water. They don't think that we should have rights to clean water. And that is a reality. You can't think, once again, the Blanco has misled you into thinking that because you live around him, that you have access to the best of everything. You don't. This shit is killing us. And being carbon beings whose bodies use water at a higher rate and a higher proficiency than your counterparts, you must understand you cannot look at your vessel like Europeans look at theirs. All right? That's what you need to know. All right. Say, what do you think Nica Rothschild was doing to all those men before they died? Oh, you already know what she was doing, Bama girl. That shit was so high power, ritualistic. I think that in terms of what she was doing was drawing their energy from their essence, because ultimately deep inside of you is a crystal. Everybody has a crystal inside them that's unique. That's what I'm finna get into. Oh, the next one's finna be dope. I'm finna show you guys how to tap into your unique crystal. All right, how to get you. And usually they try to associate this with your birth crystal. Mine's supposed to be ruby as a Leo. Okay, now what you have to understand, remember, the exoteric is symbolic of the esoteric, what's inside. Somewhere inside of you, that crystal is hiding. It's just like somewhere, it's not, nobody's magical crystal is in the same location. Oh, this is, we ready for it though. Everybody's ready for it. We finna get into it. But Orlando Brown said they make us pay for water. They would not be allowed. Hold on, let me see what this one said. This chat. Screw tube. What is screw tube doing? Said they make us pay for water. They will not be allowed in my. Oh, okay. Steven Universe, Crystal Gems. All right. Well, yeah, we got some powerful ones. A powerful, very, very powerful segment coming up, you guys, for the next one. I just kind of wanted to, because all of the talk, the World War III talk and all the different stuff, we don't do no fear mongering here. We don't excite no paranoia here. We just here to give you the facts. We just wanted to show you how easy it is. Obviously, we know that, but it's all about facts over feelings, right? We wasn't going to sit up here and try to throw you down left and talk about, World War III, the economic. No, all these people are a part of the game. Now it's our job to have an agenda of our own. Okay, conform with one another. This is how powerful we must see ourselves. We have to reframe ourselves into the guys that we know that we are, right? And I'm fully here for it. Like I told you guys, I mean, to me, it's not about, nobody can convince me otherwise. I don't care what anybody else says. I really don't. You know what I'm saying? And you know why I don't care what anybody else says? Oh, hold on, let me see. Literally a show about Crystallogians, brother. Just peep a cover for this. Okay. All right, I have to see that. All right. But the reason why you know, that I personally don't care what anybody says because I know who the judge is. And who is the judge? God is the judge. And why is he the judge? Because she decides who wins and loses, not my opponent. Who is my opponent? My opponent does not exist. And why does he not exist? Because he is merely a dissenting voice to the truth I speak. Speak the truth, Christologians.